What should you wear when you're walking into the audition room of a film and television audition, or for a self-taped audition? Should you dress as the character, or should you just dress as yourself? To answer these questions, I want to share with you my own personal experiences, as well as the advice of two casting directors. What's up, my fellow actors? Welcome to the Acting Career Center, here to help you learn the skills you need to break into the film and television industry. Hey, if you haven't already, you definitely want to subscribe to this channel to get more videos on acting, auditioning, and career advice every single week. As a working actor in the industry, my goal is to share with you everything that I know and everything that I've learned to help you jumpstart your career. In fact, I want to give you my free 10-step audition preparation process that's helped me book many movies and television shows. I call it my audition cheat sheet, and you can download it right now at the Acting Career Center website. That link is in the description below. Today's topic is what to wear to an audition, specifically for movies and television shows. Whether it's an in-person audition, a self-taped audition, what should you wear? How much should you dress like the character that you're auditioning for? Let me first tell you what I've been told for most of my career, and then I'll share with you a couple tips from two casting directors. The advice that I've heard most often throughout my career is that you should dress to suggest the character. Meaning you should definitely wear something that's similar to what your character would be wearing, but you shouldn't go overboard with it. For example, let's say you're auditioning for a baseball player or a softball player. It would be a good idea to wear something athletic to your audition, but it would be probably going overboard to wear the full jersey with the hat and the glove and everything. Similarly, let's say you're auditioning for a soldier. It would be a good idea to wear like an army green t-shirt to suggest the character, but it's probably going overboard if you went to your audition in full combat fatigues. So dress to suggest the character, but don't go overboard with a full-blown costume. The reason behind this is that if you go to an audition with a full costume, one, it could look like that you're trying too hard and that you're using your costume to overcompensate for potentially bad acting. And two, the costume itself could be a distraction. It could end up taking attention away from your performance. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the advice that you're going to hear from probably around 75% of the people in the industry, and that's how I approach what to wear for my auditions. So now that we've heard that, let me tell you what a couple casting directors have to say about what to wear to an audition. The first casting director is Sharon Bialy out of Los Angeles. Sharon wrote a book called How to Audition on Camera. This is an excellent book and I highly recommend it. I'll put a link to it in the description below. In the book, Sharon has a chapter called Should I Dress for the Character? She writes, every teacher and every coach will give you a different answer to this question, but my advice is to suggest the character in the way that feels most comfortable to you. If dressing for the role helps you get into character and slide into another persona, then by all means do so. So she also says to suggest the character, but her explanation of it is quite different. She says to dress in whatever way that makes you most comfortable and works best for you. And if that means to put on a costume, then by all means do it. A lot of people will not recommend this approach, but this is coming from a very well-known and well-respected casting director in the industry. I've actually seen this approach work for some actors. I remember a few years ago, I was at a callback for a movie and the role was for a police officer. I distinctly remember there was an actress at the callback who was wearing a full-blown police officer's uniform with a badge and everything. And she was the only actor in the room who had the full uniform. All the other actors, myself included, were wearing like a blue or a black button-down shirt. But guess who booked the role? That girl with the full uniform. Now, I'm not saying that the uniform is what booked her the role, but it certainly didn't lose her the role. That worked for her. But it's not going to work for everyone. And even though I had just personally witnessed it working for someone else, I still don't go to my auditions dressed in full character because it's just not something that I think would personally work for me. And there is another big advantage to not dressing in full costume for an audition, and I first heard this from another casting director. Recently, I was on a Zoom call with Jordan Brown, who's a casting director here in Atlanta. I asked Jordan what her thoughts were on actors dressing in full costume for auditions, and she mentioned a potential drawback that most actors don't really take into consideration, and that is, if you go into an audition dressed in full costume for a specific character, you make it harder for the producers to consider you for other roles in the project. Understand that whenever you audition, you're never just auditioning for that one part. It is very common for them to say, you know what, you may not be right for this particular role, but we can tell you're a good actor, so can you read for this other role as well? That's very common, and it's happened to me many times. Or even better, they could say, hey, you know what? We don't think you're right for this role, but there's this other role in this project that you're perfect for, and we'd like to book you for it. And boom, you get offered a role without ever auditioning for it. This exact scenario happened to me in 2017 with the movie Venom. I auditioned for a role, and I didn't end up getting it. 2 weeks later, they called my agent and they offered me a different role in the movie that I never auditioned for. They booked me off of my audition for that other character. So when Jordan Brown says that dressing in full costume could potentially take you out of consideration for other roles, she means that let's say you go into an audition and you are dressed in full police officer uniform. They could be casting other roles that day. They could be, let's say, casting for a teacher role that day. And they could have been considering you for the role of the teacher, but since you're dressed 100% as a police officer, it's harder for them to visualize you in the role of the teacher, right? So let's say instead you were wearing a button-down shirt and dress pants. Well, those clothes can suggest both a police officer and a teacher, and many other potential roles. Look, I'm not telling you to never dress in full costume for an audition. Hey, like I said, I've seen it work for some people, and Sharon Bialy, the casting director out of Los Angeles, said you do whatever works best for you. But I just want you to understand the potential drawbacks of doing so. All right, that's my take on what to wear to an audition. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and let me know which approach you agree with more. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to download my free audition cheat sheet. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and I look forward to seeing you on set one day.